This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts Luke Sylvia and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic. What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Sixth Man Show. It is October 25th, 2021. Jonathan Osborne here. As always, I am joined by my co-host, Luke Sylvia. Luke, what's going on, man? How we feeling tonight?
Bing bong. Bing bong.
Oh, my gosh. That good.
That's it. I mean, that's it.
Oh, man.
That's it. A win, if you guys haven't caught that, it's a Knicks thing. We love to beat the Knicks, especially after we get blown out by the Knicks.
At home.
At home to go into MSG. Had my friends talking mad trash today. You know, my friend Brandon is a Giants fan and a Knicks fan. This morning he says after the Giants win, he goes, "Man, a Giants and a Knicks win in the same day. Can you believe it?" And I just texted him after and just replied to the text in our group chat, and I said, "I think this is where you jinxed it." So you know, it was a fun game. It was a sloppy game. It was, you know, nothing pretty about the shooting numbers, but man, it felt good to get a win.
It truly, truly did. And we're going to cover the weekly state of the Magic. You guys might notice that my voice is trashed. RJ Hampton took a charge against Evan Fournier Friday at Amway, and it was called a block. And I just let the ref have it the best that I could, and my voice is still recovering from that. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that, you know, luckily, thanks to you guys, and, you know, it's really for the podcast, but I was the one that was fortunate enough to go to Amway to cover the game as a member of the press. It was just really a dream come true, just really, really crazy. You know, you walk in the back of Amway, I have no idea where I'm going. I feel like an idiot. Shout out to Dan Savage. I walk in and I see Dan, literally, thank God. And I'm like, Dan, I have no idea what I'm doing. And he's like, yeah, let me show you around. So he showed me, like, the media room. Luke, did you know that they feed the media? I had no idea.
Did you see that? Did you see the ice cream machine?
I did not see the ice cream machine, but I saw it. Like, they had, like, pasta, lasagna, like
yeah,
rice.
You get a ticket. You used to, at least, you know, back in my day, you used to get the like a blue
That's
ticket
exactly what
for your meal. Yeah, and I don't know if they still have the ice cream machine, because the jokes are around, you know, the press and stuff is that, like, the ice cream machine was always broken, kind of like McDonald's. It always had some type of malfunction, so I don't even know if they have it anymore. But yeah, no, I mean, that was awesome to get. If you guys have listened to the interviews, Jonathan got to ask a couple questions.
Dude,
he got to,
so
you know, Jonathan
nervous,
Osborne,
dude.
the Sixth Man Show.
So nervous.
Give me chills.
Oh, boy.
Chills, bro.
Dude, I was so nervous. I didn't ask Jamal anything because, honestly, my head was just spinning being in that room. And then, you know, like, Mo comes in and I'm sitting there. I'm like, man, I don't want to sound like an idiot, but I'm like, I'm never going to get better at this if I don't just jump in. So I asked Mo a question. Right. He gave me a good answer. And then I'm sitting there. I've got a great question for Franz. I'm ready to cue it up. I'm sitting there with the mic. So for those of you that don't know, in the media room, in the press conference room, there's 2 rows of seating, and there's a microphone on each side of the room, and it just goes back and forth, left to right, left to right. And I'm sitting there. I've got the mic in my hand. Gentleman from the Orlando Sentinel is sitting there. He's getting ready to ask his question, and he asked the question that I was going to ask Franz. So as he's going through that, I'm in my mind like, oh, my God, I can't hand the microphone back. I'm going to look like a total loser. So I had to think of another question, and luckily, you know, Franz.
Great question.
Thank you.
Great question,
dude. Grace of God, no other excuse for that.
Thinking on the fly.
Well, that's kind of, I'm used to that here on the you know, interviewing with you. You know, like, we just had Tunji and some of those, like, you know, as he's talking, it just kind of prompts more questions.
Right.
So luckily, I've had some practice with that, but it was just so much fun, just being on the floor for warm-ups. You know, being 2 feet away from. I met Jeff Weltman. Super nice guy. Finally got to meet Josh Robbins in person after all these years, reading all of his stuff. Met David Steele. David Steele said that he will come on the podcast at some point. Obviously, very busy these days. But it was great to meet him. Just great to meet so many people that I've interacted with on Twitter over the years. But, man, we're going to talk about the Knicks game from tonight in a little bit. But being in that arena, like, I've been there for, you know, Heat games. I've been there for, you know, Cavs games with LeBron. Been there for Warriors games.
Warriors.
Like the away crowd is always really loud there, but it has never been like it was Friday in Amway with the Knicks crowd. Like Obi Toppin hits that corner three, I think it was, and then has the steal and the dunk the other way, and the whole place just erupts. Let's go Knicks. And Evan Fournier, who used to play for the Magic, is sitting on the sideline on the bench, and he's talking to his teammates like, bro, I've got goosebumps. This is crazy. And it really was. So screw the Knicks fans that were at Amway screaming, we hate you. We got you back tonight. Bing bong. There's going to be a lot of that tonight. But, man, just dream come true. Really, it would not be possible without you guys. Like, from the bottom of my heart, if you've been rocking with the podcast for a little bit or a long time, I cannot thank you enough. None of this would be possible without you guys. And, like, I was a little kid getting to live out my dream the other night. So just thank you guys. It was amazing. Really, really was. A couple of housekeeping things really quickly. We've started a Patreon. We've got some awesome patrons so far. If you have not subscribed to the Patreon yet, you're interested in doing so, you can go to patreon.com/the6manshow. I'm going to shout out our patrons right now. Ellis, Nathan Lynn, who he's on Twitch, right, Luke? What's his Twitch channel?
Linbo, Lynnbo.
Shout out to Nathan Lynn, a friend of the podcast, Carson Tulo, Zico, Keith Garcia, Armin, Drew Gooden, Court Cousins. The list is getting a little bit longer each week, which is really cool to see, but just can't thank you guys enough for your support. Really, really appreciate that.
And before we take care of some more housekeeping stuff, guys, just so you guys might be listening, you may not have heard Jonathan and I talk about the Patreon before. There's 3 different tiers, right? I'll go through them real quick. $2 a month is basically just supporting the show fully. It's not free to run the show by any means. Then you got the $5 a month tier, which is basically Patreon exclusive podcast episodes that we will record for you guys, and we release only to the Patreon.
Quick note on
then
that.
You'll be included in our special thanks.
Our patrons are waiting for our first Patreon exclusive episode. There's an issue right now that I'm having with Patreon getting the private RSS feed up. So please be patient. I promise I'm working every day with Patreon to get that figured out. So appreciate your patience.
Yep. Yeah, and then you look over to $10 a month. It's got things like Discord benefits. We've got a Discord for you guys where we can talk, Magic stuff, whatever you guys want, and everything that obviously you guys saw in the $5 tier as well, along with a monthly Zoom Q&A, kind of us being transparent about the show and what we've got, coming up. If you guys just kind of want to, just talk whatever with us, obviously we'll be willing to do that as well. So would really appreciate you guys to take a look at it. Again, like Jonathan said, patreon.com/the6manshow to kind of look at the tiers. Everything is laid out for you and kind of what those sections have included.
Just a little quick sidebar for my folks on YouTube. We've got some new subscribers, so really, really appreciate that. But the majority of our listeners are not subscribed, or viewers, I should say, are not subscribed to the channel. So if you're watching this, if you appreciate it whatsoever, if you enjoy it, if you could take 2 seconds, like the video, subscribe to the channel, it really helps us out a ton. Just take 2 seconds, pause, subscribe, come back. We really, really appreciate that. And then if you guys are listening on Apple, if you guys are fans of the show, if you wouldn't mind stopping the episode right now to go leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Again, that means a ton for us. I think right now we're around like 140. Would love to get to 200. That would be amazing. So if you guys, again, subscribe on YouTube. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, just go ahead really quick. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. Would mean the world. Thank you guys so much. All right, Luke, let's talk the weekly state of the Magic. So the Magic started the season going 1-2 in their first week. Luke, you and I both picked the Magic to go 1-2 this week. But we picked different games, and we were both wrong.
And we ruled out the only game.
We said there's no way they were going to win tonight in New York in MSG. So luckily they were able to pull it out. But if you guys don't know, started the week with a 123-97 loss in San Antonio in their season opener. 121-96 loss to the Knicks on Friday in Orlando's home opener. It was the single least fun game that I've been to in the Amway Center, actually. And then ended the week with a 110-104 win over the Knicks in Madison Square Garden on Sunday. So, Luke, let's talk about Magic versus Spurs.
Yeah, so that game against the Spurs is a game I frankly don't want to talk about very much. That game was not fun. I mean, you look at the quarter by quarter breakdown here. The Magic didn't win a quarter.
Yeah.
So usually, if you don't win a quarter, actually 100% of the time, if you don't win a quarter, you're probably losing that game. So you kind of look
Have
at
to
it,
win a
man.
quarter
I mean,
to win a
you
game.
have to,
You have to.
and you lose by 26. So nothing really was surprising about that, in that point. But Spurs, a team that could easily be 11th, 12th in the West when this season ends. So really wasn't that encouraging of a game. Obviously, you never want to start that way. Was there any type of positive, anything that you got from that game?
Well, I think there's a few, things like kind of background stuff, so people have the full picture of what happened with this game. So everyone knows Markel's out, J.I.'s out, Michael Carter-Williams is out. We're still waiting for Chuma Okeke to come back. I'm hoping we see him sometime this week. Last week, Jeff Weltman said that he's full contact participant in practice. They're just waiting for him to get his conditioning back. So we should see him soon. But then we got news that Etwan Moore sprained his knee, so he's out. We didn't see him. Gary Harris was a late scratch. They basically found out during warm-ups he started to have some hamstring tightness that he wasn't going to go. So Jalen Suggs got the start. So your first lineup of the year is Cole, Suggs, Franz, Wendell, Mo Bamba. So for me, everything it started off really well. We were at Harry Buffalo. Philip Rossman Reich from Orlando Magic Daily, Locked On Magic, he came out. It was great to see him. But the Magic had an early lead, Luke. They were up 17-11 before the Spurs, kind of started this it was half full court press, 2-1-2 half court trap. They forced 5 Magic turnovers in the first 7 minutes of the game. The Spurs went on a quick 6-0 run to tie the game, and then after the first quarter, Magic were down 28-32, down by 12 at the half, and then again, sloppy turnovers in the third quarter, 6 turnovers in the third. Really played the Spurs pretty even to start the third, I felt like, but once the Magic broke the lineup, San Antonio closed the quarter on a 20-5 run, and then just never got close in the fourth quarter. You end up losing that game again, 26 points, 123-97. Couple of bright spots. I thought we can talk a little bit about the box score here. Franz Wagner, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. He actually had some nice plays off the dribble, 6 of 9 from the floor. Wendell, 13 points, 8 rebounds. Mo Bamba, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 4 blocks. So it was a Mo Bamba block party. And with the Spurs, Jakob Poeltl, 12 points, 13 rebounds, and Devin Vassell just coming out of FSU, a lot of people thought he was going to be good, and then you see him with the Spurs, last year, and you're like, is he really going to be that good? But 19 points, 8 of 12 from the floor, 3 of 4 from 3. Him and Lonnie Walker, especially in the second half, just destroyed the Magic second unit. We talk about when they broke the lineup, and we'll talk more about that against the Knicks because it seems kind of like a recurring problem. But yeah, what were your big takeaways from the first game?
The biggest thing was Mo, right? You look at Bamba, you look at what he did in the preseason. Like you said to me, you gave me a little bit of hard time when we were texting about it. You're like, what, the preseason didn't do anything for you with Bamba? Everything that he put together? And I was like, no, it didn't. And it showed me a little bit, but it did not really make me. I was still trying not to get my hopes up about Mo Bamba at that point. I was protecting myself from heartbreak. And, he comes out. I wish he would have had more rebounds in that game, obviously, with 4, but he made up for it with, 4 blocks and 18 points. Shot the ball really well, 3 for 4 from 3, 3 for 4 from the free throw line, 3 offensive rebounds. Those were 4 of his rebounds were on the offensive end, 3 of them. So Mo Bamba was the big takeaway for me. In a game where the Magic lose by 26 and you still manage to be positive and a plus minus, says a lot about you and is one of the few times that a plus minus is worth something. Mo Bamba goes +1 in a game that you lose by 26. Him and Wendell both. Wendell went +3 and they were the only 2 in the positive. So if that doesn't tell you much about a Mo and Wendell lineup, might have its flaws at some points, obviously, and it won't be something we see starting forever once J.I. comes back. But I think that also continued to really affirm for me that despite a blowout, I think Mo and Wendell can play alongside each other, when we have to throughout the season if it comes to it, and just throughout the rotation of the game. I think that's something we could see.
Yeah, I think when like Ji and Chuma, those guys come back, we're going to see less of that. But especially right now, when you're playing against bigs that really aren't all that mobile, like Jakob Pertl, Drew Eubanks, especially like those types of lineups, those guys are going to do really well together. This was the rookie debut for Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs. Again, we talked about Franz. He played pretty well. Jalen, on the other hand, had some moments, but really didn't shoot the ball very well. 3 of 14 from the floor, 1 of 6 from 3. Had 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal. Did look pretty solid on the defensive end. Like, I think we just all know that that's going to be there for him. And we'll talk more about Jalen, just kind of like an overview of the week in a little bit here. But like the first game, that was my big takeaway with Jalen. Like, seemed to be in the right spots, but offensively, it's going to take time for him to know when to pass, know when to shoot, know when to drive, know who he's able to, try to finish over at the rim, who can he attack and try to get fouled. So,
not Mitchell Robinson.
Not Mitchell Robinson. Yes, that was Steve Clifford's biggest thing when he was here. One game, it was like the first half, and Mitchell Robinson had like 5 blocks. And Steve Clifford's like, we went over this like the entire morning that we weren't going to go at Mitchell Robinson, and here we are. But what were your thoughts of the debuts of the rookies?
Not much to add, really, man. I mean, they're both guys that are growing, they're learning. The game is still trying to slow down for them and will continue to do so for a long time. Franz, I mean, he had some unfortunate matchups with like Murray. Sometimes it would get switched on to Murray, as like we were talking about too, where Murray would just blow by him. But he did finish with 2 blocks and a steal. Didn't shoot bad at all. 6 for 9, misses 2 3-point attempts, which he would soon redeem himself in the game on Friday against the Knicks from 3-point land. But so as far as Franz goes, man, I think he played better than I thought he would play in his debut, to be honest with you. And then Jalen played worse than I thought he would in his debut. I mean, he had 3 turnovers and 1 assist. It's really kind of inexcusable to have triple the amount of turnovers as the assists that you have, regardless of the amounts. I think it is just a matter of learning for Jalen. I think there's a lot more on his shoulders offensively, is probably what he feels and what he can become. So I think he's just got a lot to learn. And so unfortunately, there's going to be games like that for Jalen. He's going to struggle to find a shot. A buddy of his who balled out tonight against the Knicks, I'm obviously talking about Cole Anthony, is someone who is still learning to find his shot and find his rhythm and find when to use his confidence to take the shot or just create for others. So I think that Cole is going to be really good for Jalen if Jalen continues to kind of struggle with his efficiency.
So another debut that it was on Wednesday night was Jamal Mosley. So I think first 2 games, and we'll just kind of talk like big picture for just a second here. The first 2 games, the biggest thing to me was just how disorganized the team looked offensively and defensively. Like, especially when San Antonio started that, like half court, like the 2-on-2, trap. Like it was kind of like a full court press, but didn't really start trapping until they got across half court. But it was just like, what are we doing? Like, we can't break a press.
They didn't look prepared.
Yeah, they didn't look prepared
the
for
presses
that
I broke in middle school.
Yeah.
So it for.
I mean, you didn't have like Derek White out there or anything, but yeah. I get what you're saying.
Well, it felt like it. All right, you don't know. No, but yeah, I mean, like you said with Jamal, man. I mean, that's what it is, and he's a rookie too, right? So like he's trying to figure out his rotations. I mean, he talked about it in an interview. I don't remember where I saw it. Maybe you can remind me, but if you saw it, but he was talking about the things that he's learning, right? As an assistant, he knew like I need to have this XYZ ready for the coach at a moment's notice during a game. But now it's like learning during the game which assistants, like what advice I'm listening to and what advice I'm, whatever, and just like kind of filtering through, and which one's like worth taking which advice. So I think that there's just a lot that Mosley's just trying to balance right now. And yeah, I mean, that was really bad. I mean, quite frankly, that press to start, when you saw that, I was like, oh no. Oh no! What is going to happen the rest of the game? And then, sure enough, we came to find out soon what would happen.
Well, like the Spurs, like they went away as soon as they tied the game. They like went away from it, and then it was like to start the third quarter, they're like, all right, this worked for us in the first half. Like, let's just get back into this.
Right.
And you turn the Magic over again, 6 times in the third quarter. But so let's talk about Friday versus the Knicks. The home opener. Really, really, it's always so exciting at Amway, the first game of the year. I hate the drive out there, but every time I see the building like just peek up over the hill, I'm like a little kid. I get so excited. I get the butterflies. There's like an electricity in the arena. It's palpable. You can really feel it. So this was the return of Evan Fournier again. So he came to Orlando, I think it was in April, as a member of the Celtics. I was at that game. The Magic gave him a nice little tribute at that game. There was some question about whether or not they would give him another tribute because, it was a full house and everything. They did not, which I was okay with. It was a nice tribute that they gave to him, when he came with the Celtics. But still no Gary Harris. Through the same starting lineup out there, Cole, Suggs, Franz, Wendell, Mo Bamba. We don't need to spend a lot of time talking about this. I feel like, talking about how disorganized the team looked, and kind of maybe it was a lack of preparation from Jamal Mosley, and obviously you're starting 2 rookies. There's a stat that since they started tracking starting lineups, the starting lineup that the Magic put out on opening night is the youngest ever. So some of this really should be expected, and I said it in kind of like my recap after the Spurs game that this might have been like a reality check for some folks on how this season might go, but this game got ugly very, very quickly. Magic were missing defensive assignments, leaving guys wide open. Mitchell Robinson, like back cutting, just wide open, just dunk. He's gonna make that every single time. Like Wendell had a bunny that he missed to start the game. Franz missed a layup, and it was like, all right, this is not going to go well. As soon as they got down, like the ball movement completely stopped. They were actually moving the ball really well to start the game, I felt like, and then they just like were missing shots. And then there's, okay, we're just going to go one-on-one now because we're getting down so much. They shot 27% in the first quarter, or 6 of 22 from the floor. The Knicks shot 53% and led the Magic 36-16 after the first quarter. Magic were down 35-65 at halftime. The second half, though, we did see some life. They went on a 22-8 run to start the third. They were down 16. You really felt the energy in the building starting to build. Suggs comes down. They're down 16. Pulls up a 3. If he hits that, then it's 13, and you're just stopping another 3 or a couple of baskets. Getting it to under 10, and then the game is really close. But he misses that 3. The Knicks get the rebound, go down the other end. Evan Fournier ends up getting a wide open 3. So it goes from possibly being 13 to back to a 19-point lead.
6-point swing.
Just like that. And then the Knicks lead big the rest of the way. Magic lose 121-96. Luke, what were your takeaways?
Jalen Suggs, despite being 0 for 6 from 3, that was his best game so far, including tonight for me. He had 14 and 8 and only 2 turnovers. So, like, you saw a lot of growth for him even from game 1 to 2. So that was good to see. Like you said, you don't give yourself much of a chance when you end the first quarter down 20. Like, 36-16, there's no reason that game should, you should be down that much. And then with these young guys, man, I think that it's so hard when you don't have a veteran who has came back from being down that much before, and just like there isn't that experience on the court and in the locker room at, not near as much as you would like. I think that, that really put the team out of the gate to start. And it really, these guys, man, the Knicks are a good team. Like the Knicks really are a top 5 team for me, probably in the East. And they've just got a ton of weapons. Julius Randle, there's not enough that can be said about Julius Randle. Evan Fournier has been playing his butt off, came into Amway, did the same thing, picked up right where he left off in his first game after he dropped whatever it was, like 32 in the opener for them. Drops 18. There was just, it's going to be growing pains for these guys. Franz has 16 points. Suggs has 14. That was probably the most encouraging part. And I think that's going to continue to be what we look for. Is like, okay, so we lost the game, but how did our rookies do?
Right.
And how did Cole do? And soon it'll be Chuma and J.I. Like, there's a lot of storylines for this team throughout the year, and I'm interested to see how it goes. But yeah, that Knicks game, man, on Friday was disheartening to say the least.
Yeah, it definitely was. Yeah, it was tough being in the building, with all those Knicks fans, everybody going crazy. Franz Wagner, you mentioned, he led the entire team in scoring. Like, it's so funny how quickly people have changed their opinion on Franz. Like, he had a rough summer league, looked rough in preseason, and everyone's like, oh my God, this guy sucks. He's a bust. And it's like, everybody just be patient. He's doing the right things. The shots just aren't falling. And now they're falling, and everyone's like, oh my God, like, Franz has, like, been like Cole had such a good game tonight, but there's an argument for Franz being like our third best player to start the year so far. Like, Wendell and Mo are like 1A, 1B, and then it's like Franz. Cole popped off tonight, but Franz has been playing so well.
Yeah, and I think that what surprised me most about these first two games is really like going into the season. Everyone was saying this. Like, we were definitely not the ones that started this or thought this. We're the only ones thinking it. The energy of this team is going to really lead them through games. But on the flip side, the energy, the just the hype around these guys and just the adrenaline that's going through them playing in these NBA games for the first time for those young guys, especially, Cole included, is yes, their energy is going to lead them to, game-winning type plays, right? Ring the bell. But it's also going to lead them to these games where they do have 16 to 20 turnovers. And unfortunately, you saw it against the Spurs. I think the final turnover margin was like 8. We had 16 and they had 8 or something like that. Then you look at New York on Friday, they only had 11. We had 18 turnovers. The turnover battle really is going to determine how much this team, especially this team, stays in the game. And I think it really is just kind of not being so deer in the headlights when the ball comes to you, knowing what, and I think they did a good job tonight against the Knicks. When the ball comes to you, knowing what your next move is going to be, the next pass, who's my first read going to be to, when I touch the ball. I think that, that is going to be a huge storyline this year as well, is, okay, I bet that we'd be able to sit down and say, what was the turnover battle? Like, what was the final margin? And we can probably tell you who won the game, especially with these young guys.
Yeah, I think, something that people are really noticing is, right now when we break the lineup, and especially when we have like Moritz Wagner, Rolo, and Brazdeikis in the game right now, everything just falls apart. So people are so excited to get like Chuma back, get J.I. back, because then Moritz Wagner, Robin Lopez really won't see the floor. As soon as Gary Harris comes back, Ignis really won't see the floor. We're getting our money's worth right now to that 2-way contract, but he only has so many days on the active roster.
45, I think.
So, we're already, like, a week into that. So, we'll see what happens with that. But I think what people is, like, the biggest, like, glaring weakness right now with this roster has been the point guard play. Like, Cole Anthony, props to him. Great game tonight. But you look at the first game against the Knicks, 4 turnovers. Jalen Suggs, 2 turnovers. R.J. Hampton, 2 turnovers. First game, against the Spurs, Jalen Suggs, 3 turnovers. Cole Anthony, 3 turnovers. R.J. Hampton, 2 turnovers. Like, those guys, first of all, we need a calming presence on the floor at the guard position so badly. Somebody that can take the ball, just slow it down, get somebody an easy basket, and just calm everybody's nerves.
I've never wanted to see Etuan Moore play basketball more than I do right now.
Give me Michael Carter-Williams. Like, literally anybody right now. Just to play alongside these guys. But I think Markelle is going to do so much for these guys, especially Jalen and RJ when he comes back. Like, Cole seems like he's starting to figure it out. But Jalen, right now, obviously the game is moving so fast for him. At times he's like a deer in the headlights.
Right.
RJ Hampton, Luke, are you familiar with the Mighty Ducks trilogy?
Yes, I am.
So D2, when they go to play in the Junior Olympics games, and it's not just the Minneapolis, like the little District 5 Ducks anymore. They're playing for Team USA. They're gathering talent from all across the country. They bring in this speedster from Miami, Luis Mendoza. Okay, incredibly fast, one of the fastest guys you've ever seen on the ice. His problem is he cannot stop. As a hockey player, you need to know how to stop. And this is like a theme throughout the entire movie. And I feel like that is RJ Hampton. He's so fast, he's so athletic, but he doesn't really know what to do with it just yet. And it's going to take time. People are like, oh, he only played, 19 minutes this game, or only played 23 minutes last night. They want to see more RJ Hampton. RJ, we really need to be patient with RJ. The talent is there. He's got the moves. He's got the body. But it's going to take time for him to really be able to put it all together. But Markelle is going to help this team so much when he comes back. Really, really looking forward to that. All right, Luke, we're going to take a quick break to hear from our friends from Manscaped, and then we'll talk Bing Bong Game 3 against the Knicks. Attention, ballers. Basketball is back. Ben Simmons has 76 problems this season, but you can have none with our friends over at Manscaped. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped to keep their front and backcourt polished all year long. Trim with their new Lawnmower 4.0, which is included in the Performance Package 4.0, and watch the hair fade away. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code SIXTH at manscaped.com. That's code SIXTH, SIXTH at manscaped.com.
The Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multifunction on-off switch can engage a travel lock, and gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. Did I mention this trimmer is waterproof too? And one, the Performance Package 4.0 also includes a free pair of Manscaped anti-chafing boxer briefs that will bring your boxer game to the next level.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code SIXTH at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code SIXTH, SIXTH. It's time you take care of your bricks this season. All right, Luke. First of all, let's just talk about how fun this game was tonight against the Knicks. You guys are listening to this Monday morning. Hopefully you're going into work. You got your Dunkin' Donuts and a smile on your face. The Magic win 110-104. Cole Anthony got it going early. 15 points in the first quarter. I think he had 21 at the half. That first quarter, 5 of 8 from the floor, 4 of 5 from 3, 2 assists, 1 rebound. The Magic were down 27-29. Early in this game, Luke, I'm like, man, this is great, but without Cole shooting the ball like this, we are absolutely going to get smoked. So again, we break the lineup. The Knicks in the second quarter go on a 15-0 run. Okay, they go up. Luckily, the Magic are able to answer with a 10-0 run of their own, down just 5 at half. We'll talk more, about Franz and Jalen, just kind of an overview. But Franz Wagner, man, just playing his butt off in that first half. Just again, we keep saying this, but it just always looks like he's in the right spot. Fast forward, to the third quarter, the Magic finally take the lead back with 5 minutes 55 seconds to go in the third. Down 74-80, heading into the fourth quarter. The Magic, starting with a 3-pointer from Moritz Wagner at the end of the third quarter, they go on a 15-0 run, and then they really never looked back. I mean, there were some moments where the Knicks were getting a little bit close. There was a Julius Randle just like elbow Jalen Suggs in the back of the head. He gets a pass from Franz Wagner, goes up. He's on, like, I was having Daniel Jones flashbacks from a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna baby giraffe it, trying to walk back to the sideline, just like Daniel Jones.
Luckily, he didn't.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you see that happen, and I mean, good night. I couldn't believe it. Just like when they showed the replay, and it was just like his head cracking forward.
Yeah.
I was like,
instantly a flagrant.
Lord.
Like they called the flagrant. Yeah. I mean, he's lucky it wasn't a flagrant too. That's a super dangerous play, especially hitting someone in the back of the head. It's the most dangerous.
If there was any indication of intention, he would have definitely been ejected.
In my eyes, there was. Like, he's just sitting there and he just like it wasn't a play on the ball. He just swings his hand. And like his, like the side of his elbow catches Jalen in the back of the head. Luckily, he was okay, got up and, was still moving around and everything. But the fourth quarter, like, was totally Terrence Ross. Like, Terrence, I think, was like 2 of 8 or had 2 field goal attempts going into the fourth quarter. I believe he had 20 in the fourth quarter. At one point was outscoring the entire Knicks team in the fourth quarter. And like Cole tried, it seemed like, to take over in the fourth quarter, but didn't have the same rhythm that he had in the first half. And Terrence was like, Daddy Ross got this, boys. Like y'all got me to this point. I'm going to show you how it's done. And Gary Harris talked about this. I mentioned this a few times on the podcast now. He mentioned during media day how important it was early in Denver for those guys to figure out how to win games. And this is why you need a veteran like Terrence Ross on the team to have a crazy fourth quarter and show these guys, this is how we close it out. This is how we win the game. Magic win 110 to 104. Luke, what were your big takeaways?
Well, the biggest one, man, was just like you've talked about it before. Like, okay, well, we're about to see how these guys like respond to adversity, and that's going to be really the first big test, right? And you're at MSG, Jonathan. If you told me, the Magic get outscored the first 3 quarters at MSG, how do I see it going down? You don't tell me the amounts of the game, how many they're scoring per quarter. I tell you, there's no way the Magic win this game. Going into that final quarter, I mean, like you said, T. Ross just got it together. I mean, we really didn't see much of him offensively throughout the whole night till the fourth quarter. So how many did you say that he scored in the fourth?
I'm pulling it up right now just to...
I think it was like 20
22
or something like
in the
that.
fourth quarter, 6 of 9 from the floor, 2 of 5 from 3. 8 of 9 from the free throw line.
That was all of his points, wasn't it?
I think it might have been.
He scored 22 tonight.
Let me look at all periods. 22 points tonight. 22 points in the fourth quarter. 9
all
free
of them
throws
in a quarter.
in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
An and 1-3, which I tweeted out. In the last 3 seasons, I can count on one hand the amount of times that Terrence Ross has been blocked on a 3-point attempt. Just put your hand up. Stop jumping. You're going to foul him.
Yeah. Right. So, I mean, you get outscored in all 3 quarters. Fourth quarter, you outscore the Knicks 36-24. 22 of those 36 points goes to Terrence Ross. A big night for him. All of a sudden, we didn't expect it. I mean, Terrence Ross really was the unsung hero of the game tonight. Obviously, Cole Anthony scoring 29 was huge, but it felt like there was kind of
16 rebounds. Can we talk about this? This is a Nikola Vucevic stat line.
Right, for a guy who is, they say he's 6'2", but he's 6 foot.
He is a big
maybe.
guy, like just in general speaking, as a 5'9.5" foot average height male.
Right.
He's a big guy, but he is significantly smaller than everyone else that's out on the floor. Terrence jokingly in his post game, he's like, "Bro, you had 16 rebounds and you're 5'9". That's crazy."
Yeah. I mean, he looks 5'9" on the court compared to a lot of those guys. So yeah, Cole Anthony, man, you saw it. I mean, through the whole game, that was the other big thing for me. Was Cole is a guy last year, he averaged 5 assists per game. Right, had to take over some point guard duties when Markelle goes down, MCW, all that type of stuff. He's kind of starts to learn what it is to really start to try to run the offense. Tonight, you saw what happens when he's in a rhythm. I mean, I saw it instantly. He started hitting shots, and I started looking for kind of his playmaking at that point and seeing like, okay, he's getting all the attention drawn to him. It's similar to in football, right? Like you're running the football, your running back is just gashing them for 5-6 yards every play, and then all of a sudden they stop paying attention to the pass, and you're able to take a deep ball on him. So like that was Cole Anthony tonight. He continued to score. He put pressure on the Knicks defense, so much so that it really opened up passing for him. It got Cole just kind of, his confidence was through the roof when it came to playmaking. And it was awesome to see him, show what he really can be at the point guard position. I think that in the long run, he will be a shooting guard. But it was nice to see, like, in this time when we don't have Markelle, we don't have Etuan, we don't have MCW, that we can depend on him to maybe play make for these guys. I would love for it not to be at the hands of, like, needing a 29-point game to do so. But he did seem just really comfortable, and he got really in his groove to the point where he ends up with two assists shy of a triple double tonight.
Yeah, big props to Cole. You mentioned that you felt the second game, the first game against the Knicks, second game of the season, you felt that was Jalen's best game, and I would agree. He didn't exactly flirt with a triple double, but like walk through the gym like, hey, what's up? I see you don't have a ring on your finger, type of deal. But him getting to the line tonight, 5 free throws, 4 of 5 from the line. David Steele mentioned he started before he missed a free throw tonight. He started the season 13 straight free throw makes. So that's a good prospect for his shooting going forward. But it seems like it's going to happen slowly with Jalen. again, I feel like the point guard is like the biggest learning curve out of all positions because you have so much going on, so many responsibilities. You need to know where everyone's at all times on the floor. But slowly but surely, he's kind of figuring it out. And it felt like it was slowly but surely with Franz, but it was like, oh, maybe he's and you're like, oh, yeah, he's totally got this figured out. Like I tweeted tonight, is it too early to say that Franz is a better cutter than Aaron Gordon? And Aaron Gordon is like, like points per possession when he cuts is one of the best cutters in the league. Franz literally might be a better cutter than Aaron Gordon. He just always seems to find like the open lane, the back door, get an easy layup. When Markelle comes back, I'm really excited to see how Franz is going to look. But I was encouraged by Jalen tonight. Again, looked really good defensively. Did a great job on Fournier. Fournier, had a big game the other night. Only had 8 points tonight, and that was largely due to the fact that Jalen was just all over him, following him around everywhere he went. Wasn't letting him get the same open looks that we saw Friday in Orlando. So props to Jalen.
Well, and Tibbs, shame on you, by the way. Brought in Fournier when it was too little too late. You're
true.
Down, 7 with a minute and a half or 2 minutes to go in the game. No idea why Evan Fournier wasn't in the closing lineup. You kept in Alec Burks over him, and also R.J. Barrett, who wasn't
totally disrespect Burks. Like Burks is nice. I like Alec Burks' game a lot.
He's nice, but he's not Evan Fournier. And like he went 3 for 10 tonight, and Fournier went 3 for 11. About a minute differential in their play time. I just think that I don't know what it was. I don't know why Tibbs was holding out Fournier. I know Fournier isn't incredible defensively. He's a good team defender. He's not a great on-ball defender, but I just don't see like they definitely needed that tonight. So I will say Tibbs will smack on the wrist for you, not putting Fournier in sooner later in the game. Regardless, yes, Suggs did a good job defensively. However, did have 4 turnovers I think tonight. And like 3 assists. So again, just kind of honing in on really that's another thing I'm gonna be looking at with Suggs. Big time is his assist turnover ratio because you can't be doing that.
There was a play, Luke. I think it was in the fourth quarter where the Knicks turned the ball over. It was going out of bounds. I think it was Cole that saved it and threw it down the other end of the court. Franz is running down there. He dives, can't get the ball. Goes out of bounds. You see the entire bench get up, sprint over to Franz, and pick him up. And it's like, bro, I've never seen that on a professional basketball team before. So, and then you see the dunk, that Mo Wagner had in the second half, and everyone's going crazy. Jamal Mosley.
That was on Obi, wasn't it?
I believe it was. I believe it was on Obi Toppin. So, let's talk about that just for a second. The this week wasn't as a whole a lot of fun because we got our butts kicked twice. But tonight was a lot of fun. Obviously, you get the W. But this team, people talk about this team being special, and some people mean special, this team could be really good. I don't know about that. But this team does feel special, just in the sense of how much they like each other, how much they hang out, they all get along. When we talk about Cole Anthony, obviously is really tight with Mo Bamba. They've been friends for a long time. Mo's been friends with Wendell for a really long time. Jalen has known RJ for a really long time. Yeah. Cole Anthony and RJ, obviously, last year got to know each other. They've known each other for a long time as well. And then you have literal brothers in the Wagner brothers. So, the chemistry with this team right now is just through the roof. And we saw this, I think it was last year, when Rick Carlisle, wasn't able to coach a game. I think it was due to COVID, and Jamal Mosley took over. The Mavs won that game, and the Mavs went crazy with Jamal Mosley in the locker room. And you kind of saw the same thing tonight. He comes to the post-game conference in a different shirt because he just got drenched in the locker room. What am I overhyping this or what?
No. I mean that's the biggest factor for the Magic this year. That's no secret. This chemistry through the roof. We talked about in the offseason. They went to the Chuck. For those of you who don't know, they went to the to Charleston. I'm sure if you're listening to this, you know about the Chuck. They went to the Chuck. They we knew, right? We knew the chemistry would be good. I don't think we knew that it would be this good. I think that, you talked about it, in our group chats of I just want to see what this looks like after a losing streak, right? Well,
we got close.
Absolutely. you got absolutely whopped 2 games in a row, and then you come in tonight at MSG, and these dudes are still just just supporting each other to the fullest. And Cole has the great game that obviously helps, but this game, these types of games, they're never going to be pretty, right? I mean, the Magic, you go back and look at the box score here. The Magic shoot 40%, almost 41% from the field. The Knicks shoot 37 for 100, 37% from the field. These are the games that the Magic are going to win. I feel like most of their wins are going to be these ugly, grinded out games where all you guys have is each other. You're going to be picking each other up off the ground because there are going to be a lot of dudes diving for loose balls. Like you've got to this is the type of game that's like the perfect blueprint for the Magic to win, because they're going to be gritty. They're young.
That's
they're
exactly
going to be making
what Jamal
those 50-50
said
ball
in the
plays.
locker room after the game. He said, "This is the kind of game we need to win, no doubt about it."
Yeah, those are the games you need to win for your chemistry, but I also think it's the most likely. Like, if you're looking at the W's in the columns for the Magic, a lot of those W's next to them are going to have those ugly 40 to 39% shooting games more often than not. And I think that's just because they are so young. Their defense is going to win them games. I had my friends calling the Magic defense Swiss cheese defense because there's so many holes in it. Tonight was the night that the Magic needed to win, and this is how the Magic are going to win. I think this was the blueprint for how these games are going to get done, and it also goes to show you these ugly games can be fun. This was a fun game. The environment was they said it on the Knicks broadcast, a playoff environment type atmosphere with the amount of fans in the arena before the game. I mean, it really is, I think, more than we can explain how big the win is for Orlando, for the young guys, for Mosley, for all of their confidence, especially when you're saying, hey guys, get on the plane, we're going to Miami.
I have to say, I came into this game tonight, we've talked about the disorganization that we saw the first 2 games. I came in tonight like really concerned. Like, if we were to get blown out again and look that disjointed, I was going to be like, man, I don't want to say things too early, but when a team looks that unprepared, if it was 3 straight games, especially the same team twice in a row, when you know what you need to fix from the first game, right? If we would have looked really bad, I'd be like, man, what's Mosley? You got to figure this out. And I know he's a young coach. He's
right.
Still learning a lot, but I was going to have some concerns tonight if we came out, and got blown out. So,
right.
What I'll say,
and
just really quickly, is a hot shooting night can fix a lot of offense. So I don't know if the offensive problems are totally fixed, but defensively we looked much more organized tonight. Now there were still a handful of times missed assignments, guys getting open looks, but for the most part those problems looked mostly remedied tonight.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. We both know this, right? I mean, tonight was a good win. This team is still not to the point where we think that they could have a winning record this year by any means. But I will say, going into tonight, I was like, it's too soon to be rooting for a ton of losses, right? I know we're going to be bad. And then I just kept thinking about how, once again, I know I've said this before, but I just started thinking about we had the best chance. We were tied for the best chance to get the number 1 pick, and we still got the 5th pick. Just if you can win a game, man. Win the freaking game, because when it comes down to lottery night, anything can happen. You can have a 3% chance to get the number 1 pick, and you can grab it. That is such a crapshoot, man. And I'm just so done and putting my trust in those stupid ping pong balls that I'm I'd rather put my trust in ping bong. That I am so done over that. I'm going to definitely put my trust more so in the fact that more wins equal better future success for this team.
Yeah.
No matter any way you cut it. I think last year we hadn't tanked that bad in a long time, so everybody was just kind of we need the worst odds, or the best odds for the with the worst record. We need this. And it's now looking at it, it's I don't want that. There was nothing worse than the pain of being the worst team in the NBA last year and one of the worst teams in the NBA and getting the 5th
Luckily,
pick.
It kind of paid off because we ended up with Jalen Suggs, but in the moment, it hurt like hell.
No, and it still does. It still does, man. I mean,
the craziest part is we could have won like 10, 5, 10, 12 more games, and still like we would have had a shot at the number, like at a top 3 pick, whatever it might have been. Like it just wasn't worth it. Like, yes, great, we got Suggs, but I don't know, man. I don't know how you feel about it, but it's just like I don't care anymore. Like, just win as many games as you can with this young core, and I think it will translate to better future success.
You will not see the return of the helmet, the tank helmet, if things go badly this year. I'll just be sitting here depressed. So I'm right there with you, Luke, honestly. But yeah, this game was a lot of fun, but I still think, there are tough times ahead. I still think this team is going to face real adversity. I don't think we're like past the point like, oh, this team is going to be fine if they lose a few games. Like, the true tests are still ahead. As fun as this game was, like, don't get it twisted.
Yeah, like this week.
Yeah, exactly.
This week is the true test.
Literally. So, as fun as it was, there are still, some tough times ahead. So really quickly, I just wanted to go through, some of the averages, for the guys, the first couple of weeks. Cole Anthony right now averaging 16.3 points per game, shooting 35% from the floor, 34% from 3, including tonight. 7 rebounds, 6 assists, so looking good for Cole Anthony. Terrence Ross right there with him, 16.3 points per game, shooting 50% from the field, 50% from the three-point line, 85% from the free throw line. Mo Bamba, 14 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, sitting at 2 blocks a game. Franz Wagner, we'll talk about the rookies, really just kind of wrap this up here. 12 points per game, 5 rebounds. He's shooting 50% from the floor, 38% from the three-point line. Jalen Suggs right now, 11.7 points per game, shooting 25% from the floor, 13% from the three-point line, 92% from the free throw line. 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 turnovers, got to clean that up. But he's leading the team, 1.3 steals per game. And then Wendell Carter, got to shout him out. 11 points per game, 9.3 rebounds, 52% from the floor, 37% from the three-point line. So overall as a team, we're shooting 33% from the three-point line, which I was kind of relieved to hear that, Luke, because I felt like we've just been shooting the ball so well so far through the first 3 games, but we're really not. It felt like especially Friday against the Knicks, that the three-point shooting was kind of keeping us in the game, and it was to a certain extent, but only shooting 33% on the year, that's pretty much, just below league average. So this team's looked good tonight, but nobody get crazy in thinking that the Magic are now a three-point shooting team, because that's really not the case. Looking at the offensive rating, 102.7 points per 100 possessions, 117.2 defensive rating, giving up 117.2 points per 100 possessions, a net rating of minus 14.5. Obviously, when you get blown out twice in a week, the net rating on the week isn't going to look that great. Not looking to look too deep into these numbers, Luke, but that's what they are a week into the season.
Yeah, I mean, let's try to win in Miami tomorrow night. That'd be nice. Fix those that net rating a little bit. Would love nothing more than a little bit of a win in the 305.
It really would be nice. I would definitely trade. Well, maybe not. It was such a good win tonight, but yeah, hopefully we beat the Miami Heat tomorrow. That game starts at 7:30. Then on Wednesday, home for Charlotte. Game starts at 7. Then a road, pretty tough road back to back. Friday at Toronto. That game starts at 7. They are back in Toronto this season. Games will not be in Tampa. And then Saturday at Detroit. We might get our first look at Cade Cunningham. I don't know if he's back from that ankle injury just yet. That game's going to start at 7.
Gift.
So Friday's going to be horrible because if Scotty Barnes plays well, the Magic lose. We're going to hear about that to no end. So I'm hoping like that's Jalen's first 30-point game. We blow out the Raptors. Scotty Barnes looks terrible. Guys, stop going on the Toronto Raptors subreddit. Stop reading these, trolls on Twitter, Toronto Raptor fans just coming to talk about, like, I don't understand why Raptors fans are so salty. You picked the guy that you wanted. You made the pick first. It'd be different if we passed on him and then you guys, oh, look how good this guy is, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, you guys took the guy first. Be happy with your pick.
Right.
Don't be so insecure that you have to come and argue with Magic fans.
Yeah, don't be so surprised that your pick that you picked before Jalen Suggs when he was still on the table is looking good right now. Like, looking better than Suggs right now. That's all I
Toronto
hear.
just won the championship 2 years ago. That team is still, a little bit intact. You have very good players on
Right.
that team. Scotty Barnes walked into a very good situation. Jalen would have walked into a very good situation there day one as well. Like, context clues matter, folks. Like, don't just jump to conclusions. I think Jalen is going to be just fine, Luke. Let's kind of end the show with that. Your takes on Franz and Jalen so far, just overall.
I think Franz has looked better. I think that Franz, for me, I don't think that's an overreaction. I just think, like, statistically and impact wise, he has just been better.
Anybody with
defensively,
eyeballs,
he's making
basic
shots
reading
from
skills,
three.
Franz is definitely playing better.
Franz is playing better, and it's got people wondering, am I going to be buying a Franz Wagner jersey over a Suggs
Could buy
jersey?
both.
Shout out producer Kevin. Could buy both. Kevin, go ahead and just line them up, get both of them. But yeah, man, I think Franz has looked better than I thought he would look. Even from the time that the draft night was, that wasn't just me thinking about preseason in mind. He's looked better than I thought he would look, even on draft night after I thought about everything and kind of had time to reflect about, the player that he could be. Suggs, he's just got a lot to kind of learn. He's still learning the flow of the team and the chemistry and all those types of things. I think, his ability to get, go after people, make contact with people, not being afraid of them down low has been really impressive to me. In college, even though he's a football player, right? In college, he never really jumped out on the screen as someone that was aggressive. He actually had a reputation of kind of shying away from contact at the rim, which everyone thought was kind of weird. So for me, I think that's been kind of the biggest thing for me is just seeing him not be afraid of anybody at the rim. I think that's something that can really translate as his career continues. So
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Franz has looked great. I thought he was going to come along, slowly, like even from the draft, and he's coming along a lot quicker than I thought he was. So he looks great. I think I tweeted tonight, Franz Wagner worthy of the 8th pick, and that got like a lot of likes and everything. So people are changing their tune on old sweet Franz. But Jalen, guys, just be patient. It's going to take time. I think he's going to be really good. He's really solid defensively. He seems to be, trying to do the right things offensively, but he's just figuring things out. So let's be patient with these guys. I'm sure we'll give an update, next week, but let's give it, 15, 20 games before we really start, kind of carving out what we think these guys are. So, big week, coming up, next week, mentioned again, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday at Miami versus Charlotte, at Toronto, at Detroit. Going to be a busy week. So, be lookout for the episode, next Monday. We'll have, 4 games to cover. Let's win some games.
Yeah. And real quick, Jonathan, you don't have to go into depth about anything, but 4 games, what's the record looking like for this week?
I'm going 1-3. I think we pick up that game at Detroit.
Okay. I think we're going to go 2-2.
I like it.
I think Charlotte has a game. I'm going the numbers route here and kind of storyline. The game after us, Charlotte has a game primetime ESPN in Miami, just a Friday after we play them on Wednesday. So I think we will catch them kind of looking ahead, similar to maybe how the Knicks were tonight. I mean, the Knicks playing Philly, I think Tuesday on primetime on TNT. So yeah, I think we catch them sleeping. I think we go 2-2 on the week. I think we beat the Pistons. If Cade especially is in the lineup, I think it will be a lot of gelling, a lot of chemistry for them. So that kind of all culminates into kind of my prediction there.
I like it. And shout out to the suckers tonight that hated on my plus 12 bet of the Magic. Cashed it and then some.
Covering. Mm-hmm.
Cashed it and then some. Somebody said, "Hey, what do you used to bet?" And this kid said, "His heart, not his brain." And I felt that. I was like, dang. I'm like, that's the story of my life. But shout out to you, bro. Joke's on you. Your boy cashed out. I'm getting some McDonald's tomorrow. Holla at your boy. All right? So, Luke, I think that's a good opportunity. We're going to end the show here. For Luke Sylvia, this has been Jonathan Osborne. You guys are listening to The Six Man Show, and we will catch you guys next time. Bing bong. Thanks for listening to The Sixth Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and Stitcher to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. Please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It would really help us out a lot. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Sixth Man Show and like us on Facebook. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic.